Happy Thursday to you, everyone. I hope you're having a great day out there. It's a beautiful day here in Memphis. Hope it's beautiful wherever you are. And of course, you can always make it a beautiful training day. I'm continuing on with my animal series on personality types and how do those personality types or traits, how do they affect your dog's behavior? How do they affect animal behavior in general? Always good to know, never just trivia type information. Anything I'm putting out here is something that I use on a daily basis to help solve really deep issues with dogs, and therefore you can use them too. Okay, so this week we've been talking about producers and scroungers. We've been talking about cooperators and defectors. Now today I want to talk about how all of those personality traits form coalitions and also form alliances. Why do animals do that? Why do they feel they need to do that? And this is something that happens typically within group, but can also happen by group, as we talked about in yesterday's video. Okay, so first of all, coalition. What's a coalition? You know, cooperative actions by either that are taken by at least two or more animals, and if they're used against another animal or group of animals, then it's considered a coalition, meaning you and I form up and we go against another animal or an individual or a group of animals as a whole. And those are called coalitions. Yeah, we just kind of combine our resources and we do it together, and we're going against usually of the same species, not other species. That would go back to that cooperation thing that we talked about yesterday. Okay, and now also, if you've been forming a coalition for a long period of time, and it just kind of stays stable over a long period of time, we'll usually refer to those as an alliance versus just a simple and maybe a coalition that would be used under something like, exigent circumstances. I need to borrow you for today, but after today, and after I get this little mission done, I won't need you anymore. Animals form this all the time. Dogs form these all of the time. And that's why I'm putting it out there today. But when would a dog use another dog to go up against a third dog? Or when would they use that to go up against a group of dogs against another group of dogs? Well, we see examples all the time in households. On day 212, when I talked about facilitated aggression, that's one of the reasons why you may have two dogs engage in a fight and a third dog jumps into the fight. But in this particular situation, this is a little bit different. If in this situation, you may have two lower ranking dogs and suddenly interact in a very aggressive manner. And a very dominant dog in the household, very powerful, large animal, will oftentimes go and break that up. Just break it up. And again, it's a bit of a head scratcher. Why would you do that? There's a cost involved with that. There's energy expenditure. There's the risk of injury. So again, why would this big, powerful animal do that? And again, we always kind of go back and think, let's talk about ancestry. Let's talk about that deep well. And I'm going to talk a lot about phylogenetic type influences on our dogs tomorrow and kind of wrap this whole thing up. But we believe it's from caretaking from the pack. And a wolf pack is typically a family unit. It's a family unit. You're not an import. You are part of my family. And it kind of goes against the grain of trying to survive and using everyone trying to cooperate if we just try to kill each other all the time. And that's why many times the animal most capable of breaking up a fight within the group, within the pack, will be the biggest animal, the one with the most weapons, typically the one who dominates the rest. Kind of like just a big old referee. But we believe that is why it happens with dogs. Again, wolf packs, they got to stay as a cohesive unit. They have to work together. Only after about 2 years of age, when the siblings and offspring have grown old enough, then they will leave the pack or be forced to leave the pack and then set up their own territory, maybe next to the natal pack or move further away. But that's one reason why you may own 3 dogs in your household, 4 or 5 dogs. 2 dogs get into a fight and all of a sudden one other comes over and tries to break up the fight. That's one of the reasons that we believe is kind of like a coalition type factor there. The other thing that you can have is the direct opposite. Meaning lower ranking dogs in your household can attack that big guy, that big old referee. They can go after him. They can form a coalition, and they can, if they form it for months and years, then again, we're just going to call it an alliance. But you will see all over the animal kingdom. You'll see it among primates. You'll see it with animals, other wild canids. You'll see it with lions. They constantly form coalitions. Weaker animals will go against a larger animal. And they do that so that they can gain valuable resources. They need a valuable resource. And when it comes to animal, what are valuable resources? Typically, really two things. Food and a mate. Food and a mate. There you go. Anything after that's pure gravy. Food and a mate. Now, take our dogs, neuter, spade them. There's no mates involved. It's typically something food, or it's a bone, or a position on the sofa, or time spent with another human. A lot of reasons why this can form. But again, now we have dog coalitions happening inside of our homes and sometimes forming alliances. Now, a really interesting one I want to throw in there, and it's probably mostly because I worked with dolphins for many, many years. And they are incredibly intelligent animals. Incredibly intelligent animals. And I'm about to prove it to you right here. It's not unusual for dolphins, 3 or 4 dolphins, to form a coalition to keep a female dolphin near them. Yeah, you'll just have 1, 2, 3 dolphins, and a female dolphin will be right in their near vicinity. If she tries to leave, those 3 dolphins, they're all individuals, will work together to prevent her from leaving. They'll form a coordinated attack. They'll be very aggressive. They'll use their strengths to corral her in, to bring her in. And we call those first order alliances or coalitions. Again, the only difference in the 2 words, I'll just use one or the other, is length of time that these are formed. In dolphins, they typically form them and they stay stable. These 3 guys hanging out together, that will be very stable for many years. But they do this because she could be a mate. She could one day become a mate. There's the potential to be able to mate with her is why they keep her nearby. Now, again, that's called a first order alliance. Now, here's the kicker. They this one, so let's just call this Alliance A, can solicit the help of another alliance. And we call that Alliance B. And Alliance B will help them keep her under check and keep her close by, or even maybe 2 females. We call these things super alliances. Yeah, it's amazing how they're able to manipulate one another, use one another for a single sole purpose, to either take or defend. Meaning take is if there's not the female, they can sometimes form because the females have a tendency to hang out with other females. I wonder why. Go wonder that. So what they will do is that they will gang up together forming these super alliances, and they will go cleave a female out of that group, out of the rest of the pod, especially if they sense that that female is in estrus. All right, so it's all about mating or potential mating. And the neat thing about this whole thing is there's only 2 species on the planet that we know of that oftentimes form super alliances. In other words, what we call second order alliances. And guess what the other one is? If you said dogs, you're wrong. It's humans. Do it all the time. Super alliances to get what we want. Wow. And a lot of biologists, ethologists, so on and so forth, they all believe that this super alliance, this ability to form those and use them as they need them. Hey, let me borrow you for now. I don't need you tomorrow. Let me use you. We'll use you. Back and forth. They believe that this may have contributed to the enlargement of the dolphin brains. Yeah, definitely can. You've got to have a big brain to be able to connect all those dots together. So what does all this mean for you? It doesn't mean you don't own any dolphins. I just thought I'd throw that out there because you can see how this thing can evolve and how over enough time in the right environment, mixing everything together in that big old pot called evolution and natural selection, how things can grow all the way to a dolphin who forms super alliances. But let's get back to your household in which you have dogs who are really just forming coalitions, temporary coalitions, or long-term alliances. Where we see this the most is at, for example, dog parks. Dog parks. You own 3 dogs. You own 2 dogs. It's not unusual to have your 2 dogs go after another dog in the dog park, or go after another dog's possessions, like a ball. Again, that's why throwing balls at dog parks are really kind of dangerous. You got to be careful doing that, because that's what you'll have. It's typically not a one-on-one. It is, hey, you know, I really don't like you. The housemate there, my old pack member. But we can both use that ball. And if you help me get it, then I'll help you in the future. They literally, I don't know if they think of it on that terms, but we call this a reciprocal coalition. Reciprocal, and that's one of the reasons why we think that animals do that. Hey, you know, I will help you gang up on that other dog over there. If I need you in the future, you need to return the favor. Pretty slick, huh? Yeah, it's really neat. So therefore, we see these like at dog parks. We definitely do. Go to a dog park. A lot of you, I know if you're watching this video, you know what I'm talking about. Just take 2 dogs there. Take 3 of your own dogs there if you happen to have 3, and watch what happens. Yeah, maybe it does. Maybe it happens to your dog. You're the dog getting picked on by someone else's coalition. But it happens every single day here in America. And now the other situation which occurs are foster homes. So you are a foster. You have your own 3, 4, 5 dogs that are your dogs. They belong to you. And then comes stranger dog, the foster, or fosters. Not unusual to have a coalition already residing in your home. And these things can flip, meaning before the foster showed up, it was 3 of your dogs going after number 4. Constant going after number 4, pushing number 4 down, ganging up on number 4. Then all of a sudden, foster dog comes in. 1, 2, 3, and 4 gang up on foster dog. They form real quick coalitions, real quick. And that's why you can have a lot of fighting inside your household. You can have a lot of discord because of these coalitions that these animals form. Okay, so what do you do about that? Well, first of all, we don't do a whole lot as far as trying to disrupt natural selection, animals operating off of instinct that has been in there for eons and eons. What we do is we manage it. Again, it certainly helps me if I just have an inkling as to why this behavior is even happening. What am I dealing with here? Kind of like which devil's worse, the one you know or the one you don't know? Man, give it to me. Good news, bad news, give it to me straight so I can figure out what's going on. Because if I can observe my animals and say, okay, Dave and Poe are about to pick on Captain. I see that. Well, first of all, I don't get angry. I really don't get upset by it. Actually, I'm fascinated by it. But I take action in the form of, okay, guys, just so you know, remember the other part of a coalition? The big bad wolf who jumps here in the middle and breaks things up? Make sure you guys are playing fair so no one gets killed in this act here, because I might need you tomorrow to go hunt down that big elk. Yeah, that's me. That's you. You control it. That's how you do that through a coalition. You do that. So you just manage it. It's called management. But what I find with so many times, I mean, I just want to pull my hair out, is anthropomorphism gets in the way. And we start giving all these human qualities and these human reasons why things are happening. Well, you know what? Sometimes you get to do that. But, because this is one of those situations, humans do the exact same thing. How many times do co-workers form a coalition against another worker? How come sometimes does the little man rise up against the big man? It's happened all throughout history. It happens. But because it does happen, we're armed with that knowledge, and now we can step in and make sure we don't have a bloody outcome. We allow the foster dog to come into our household and have some chance of not suffering some trauma by simply preventing it or disrupting it before it goes all the way into a full-blown action. Now you can sit back and go, okay, so here we go. I'm seeing my 3 dogs. Yeah, look at them. Look at the eye that they're giving the new foster dog. Yeah, I see it coming. All right, guys, no way, break it up. No coalitions happening here, no alliances happening here. We need to get this dog some time. And then, of course, when the dog does become accepted by your current pack, then watch out for the next foster that comes rolling in your household. And again, the last thing I want to put out is it's not been proven yet, but one of these things, anytime you start investigating any of these, you start going down a rabbit hole, it's kind of like a brain cell. There's dendrites hanging off this thing. And you just find yourself worming down one of these little dendrites over here. And now we're actually starting to wonder, do dogs form coalitions and alliances with humans? A lot of examples of that out there. Definitely a lot of examples for cooperation, as I put out yesterday. Tons of examples of that. But now do dogs use their humans to help them either acquire a resource or defend it? See if you can think of a couple of possible examples of that and send them in to me. Drop them down in that darn thread. I love discussing stuff like this. It's so much fun, and it really does help you to think outside the box and not always get caught in that box. Okay, guys, so tomorrow I'm going to wrap this whole thing up. I'm going to drag it all the way from the beginning of what we call time and for animal personalities, bring it all the way through and lay it in your lap and just say, there you go. Here's what happened. Here are some hypotheses that are currently out there right now. And these all kind of wrap around the evolution of the dog, how the dog go from a wolf into our household. Because a lot of these things I'm talking about, put them there. That's why they're here. And again, that kind of knowledge will allow you to help train your dog easier, get through those areas that you're stuck with, those problem-solving areas, and maintain peace in your household, and at a minimum, peace for you. Yeah, when you know why something's going on, you learn how to give a little grace, and you learn how to act a little bit faster than if you didn't know. Okay, so that's it. And tell me, what are you, by the way? Do you form coalitions? Do you have an alliance? Yeah, drop it in there. It's interesting stuff. I'll see you guys tomorrow.